This is the Louie T Network.
Who else could it be but me, your me, Louie T? Welcome to the lockdown coverage, week number 4 in the National Football League. New York Football Giants on the road taking on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And this was a must-win for the Giants. 0-4 and you're done. 1-3 and there's still a pulse. Albeit faint, there's still a pulse. So they had to find a way to win this game. By hook or by crook, they needed to find a way to go to Tampa and come back with a W. For the Buccaneers, after the ugly showing on the road versus the Vikings, this was an opportunity to bounce back at home versus a team that is winless on the season. You got to find a way to win this game at home again. I talk about teams looking to take that proverbial next step. The next step is winning games you're supposed to win. And games at home against winless teams are games you're supposed to win. And so it didn't matter how it looked or how the outcome was reached. Just find a way to get it done. And that's what the Buccaneers did in this game. It was not pretty. They've got a ton of issues that they got to clean up or they won't win games like this in the future. But nonetheless, they found a way to pull this one out 25-23 on the last-second field goal by Nick Folk. I need the NFL to understand this. It's not okay to play afternoon, evening games in Tampa. How many games last year did we have to do weather delays because of thunder and lightning and rain and all kinds of nonsense? When are you going to learn your lesson? Tampa Bay kickoff 1 o'clock. End of discussion. Stop these 4:15, 4:25 kickoffs in Tampa. There was a damn monsoon to start this game. It was ridiculous. It was ridiculous. This game started, and for the first 25 to 30 minutes of this game, it was a straight monsoon. Stop having games in Tampa in the evening. Please. Thank you. All right, let's get to the Buccaneers in this game because I don't have a lot of time. Monday Night Football is on the horizon, so I'll try to get through this as fast as possible. You start with the Bucs in the offensive side of the football. I thought Jameis Winston was outstanding in this game. Made some really good throws. That one to Cameron Brate at the end to set them up in field goal range on 3rd and 1. First of all, that's ballsy. You need a yard. He throws it 25 yards down the field to Cameron Brate in stride in tight, sticky man-to-man coverage. That's outstanding. I thought Winston was solid all day long. The beautiful rollout pass and throw back across the field to O.J. Howard for a touchdown. That was outstanding. His first career NFL touchdown. That was a beauty. Some passes to Evans were on the button. There were some chances that he took in this game that, again, it's Jameis, and you know that he's going to take one or two of these a game, and you're just like, I wish you would not do that. But at the end of the day, I thought it was a good showing by Jameis Winston. And, you know, I'm not a Jaquiz Rodgers fan, especially as a starter. I don't mind him coming off the bench. But in any event, I thought he actually had himself a nice showing in his last start. I think Doug Martin should be back Thursday night versus the Patriots. So I think this might be it for him as a starter. But nonetheless, I thought it was a good showing for him in this game. Had some nice runs and thought he did some good things out of the backfield. Deshaun Jackson is going to get upset here in a bit. There are a lot of passes in this game that went to him that were behind him. He's not getting enough targets. He's not getting opportunities to make plays. He's looking at other guys around him getting opportunities to make plays, and he's not getting opportunities. And I'm telling you right now, I can speak from experience. He's going to get pissed, and at some point, he's going to let everyone know about it. And so they better get him involved in that offense. I don't care if it's a screen like they've been throwing to Humphrey. I don't care if it's a go ball. I don't give a damn what it is. They better get him involved or else it's going to be trouble in that locker room because he can become a malcontent very quickly if he doesn't get the rock. You saw it on Hard Knocks when he got mad at practice because he hadn't gotten any targets. That's going to happen in these games, and this isn't practice. So They better get that ship sailed quickly, because if not, they're going to have a problem on their hands with Djax and the lack of targets for him in this offense thus far. Cameron Brate was outstanding in this game, and your two tight end sets are going to be phenomenal with Howard and Brate on this football team. And I think there's a great potential for that two tight end set to really create some mismatches in the future. And so there's a lot of good things offensively that I liked from this Buccaneers team in this football game. They ran it well. They tricked the Giants on a number of occasions. Winston made some outstanding throws. I thought they did some really good things offensively in this game, and that gave them a shot to win. They left a lot of points on the scoreboard. We'll talk about that when we get to the defense and special teams. This game should not have been close. They left 11 points out on the field, and you just can't do that. As an offense, you throw that deep ball to Mike Evans, you get down to the 1 yard line, it's overturned. You thought it was a touchdown, it's overturned. They put it back at the 1. You got to get in the end zone. You have to find a way to get 7. You cannot come away with 3 in that situation. You just can't. That's not winning football. Got to find a way to get in the end zone there. Inexcusable to come away with anything other than a touchdown. I don't give a damn if it's a quarterback sneak. I don't care what you do. You get in the end zone. You don't run it with Jaquiz Rodgers and go backwards 4 yards and then try to throw it into the end zone a couple of times and then have to settle for a field goal. That's garbage. Get in the end zone from the 1 yard line. But other than that, I thought it was a good showing by this Buccaneers offense. They moved the football effectively, but they didn't always come away with points, and that's a problem in this league. You got away with it this week. You may not be able to get away with these types of shenanigans in the future, especially against a team like New England. You should be able to move the football on them. But if you only come away with field goals against the Patriots, they're going to score 30 some odd points. That's what they do. And if they're able to score 30 like they've done the last 3 weeks, then you're going to lose a football game because for some reason you can't seem to find a way to get into the end zone. So you're going to have to tighten up and find ways to punch the football in and stop settling for field goal attempts. You go to the defense. I thought the defensive line early in this game was dominant. Gerald McCoy and company were in the backfield penetrating just mercilessly early in this ball game. First play of the game, they stonewall Paul Perkins in the backfield. The next play, Gerald McCoy's back there. They just had a field day early in this game. Getting after Eli, stopping the run. I thought they were very, very aggressive off the snap early. And as the game wore on, they got tired, less pressure on Eli. The run game started to be more effective. I thought that they gave up some nice runs to Perkins. Had one good run before he hurt his ribs and left the game. And then you saw a lot of the rookie Wayne Gallman, and I thought he had some success running the football. So the D-line I thought was strong early. They wore down. Not enough pressure on Eli. I talked about this last week against Minnesota when you allowed their quarterback, Case Keenum, to eat you alive. Not enough pressure. I'm still disappointed with the lack of pressure. Eli Manning ran for a touchdown in this game. Can you believe that? And it wasn't 1 or 2. It was 14 yards. That's a lack of pressure. He had a lot of time in this game. A lot of time to duck and be scared and nobody's coming. Oh, my God, I'm going to get hit. Where's the pressure? Oh, it's not here yet. I need to fall down, but nobody's here yet. Maybe I can throw it. Maybe I can run it. There was a lot of decisive moments for Eli because he had time to be indecisive because there was nobody there. And this is not a good Giants offensive line. You should have been pressuring Eli a lot more in this game than you did. But that being said, you did some good things. I thought you could have come away with some turnovers in this game, had some opportunities to make some plays. Guys were all over the football, but they just couldn't come down with it. But I thought it was a solid showing, but you did give up some chunk plays in this game. One to Odell Beckham at the end that was almost very costly. Evan Ingram ate you alive in this game. He had a nice game catching the football. So there are some things to clean up, but this is a physical, fast Bucs defense. I like the way that they play the game. And now it really, if they want to take that next step, they need to get after the quarterback. And if that means you have to blitz, so be it. You'd like to do it with 4 guys, but if you can't, then you need to find a way to do that because right now you're not getting enough pressure for my liking. And I think that's going to be your undoing defensively if you don't clean it up in the near future. And you got some tough games coming up against teams that can score the football. Going to need to get pressure on their quarterbacks to rattle them. If you don't, it's going to be a long day for your defense. Moving forward, your special teams is a mess. Obviously, the missed field goals were a problem in camp. That's why you got rid of your second-year kicker, Roberto Aguayo. You signed Nick Folk, who won a quote-unquote competition. Both of those guys stunk it up in the preseason. So it really was a winner declared by default. Nick Folk used to be a good kicker. I don't know what happened to him, but he's struggling. And I think it's just mentally. It's a mental block right now for him. But you can't leave 11 points out on the scoreboard. That's how you lose games. You almost lost this game because Nick Folk missed an extra point, missed 2 field goals, and you didn't score a touchdown. And instead had to settle for a chip shot field goal. And on that game winner, had that been 5 yards back, he misses that kick. You're going to have to address that. That kicker situation, if he doesn't tighten up, is going to cost you a ball game. And you've seen more than your fair share of ball games being lost to field goal kicking. So I'd advise you to bring some kickers in on Tuesday. You know, you don't have to necessarily sign any of them, but just see what's out there. Because Nick Folk right now is struggling. And like I said, it's all mental. The guy can kick. We've seen him be a consistent kicker in this league before. It's all mental with him. And he needs to get through it and get through it quickly because this team going to play a lot of close games this year. And it's going to come down to a field goal and an extra point. You can't afford to have those not go through the uprights. But you got it done in this game, and that's all that matters. It was not pretty, a lot of mistakes, but at the end of the day, a win's a win's a win in the National Football League as you go to 2-1 on the season. For the Giants, this one stings. This might have been the most back-breaking loss of the season because all 3 of your previous losses weren't all that close. You know, obviously the Eagles game last week, that was a heartbreaker too. But that one hurt just as much as this one. I take that back. The last 2 have been just gut-wrenching losses. The first 2, you weren't competitive on the offensive side of football. The last 2 weeks, you actually did some things offensively that gave you a chance. It's disappointing because if you would have got the defensive effort that you got the first 2 weeks of the season, the last 2 weeks, you probably would have won at least one of those games. But the defense wasn't great in either one of the last 2 games, and that allowed teams to put up points and just do enough to win the game. But the offense is just as much to blame as the defense is. The offense didn't do enough in these past couple of games. And, bottom line is you had opportunities. Your kicker missed a field goal in this game, and you had opportunities to put the football in the end zone, and you didn't. You had a chance at a 2-point conversion, and Odell Beckham stepped out of bounds, and it was a holding penalty. The offensive line is still a mess. I thought you were getting dominated on the interior early in this game. In the run game, they were getting after Eli in the interior. I thought the interior of your offensive line was just a train wreck early in this game. But as the game wore on, I thought Eli got more comfortable. They got the football out of his hands a lot quicker. And I actually thought Wayne Gallman looked good as a feature back. And I think moving forward, even if Paul Perkins is healthy, I think you make Wayne Gallman your feature back and you get Paul Perkins some carries or whatever's left. You give him the leftovers. And I think Wayne Gallman is a guy that showed that he deserves more touches. And I thought he performed well in this game. I thought Evan Ingram was outstanding. And I think right now, outside of Odell Beckham, he's the next most consistent guy you got offensively. Brandon Marshall continues to struggle catching the football, continues to struggle to get on the same page with Eli Manning. Sterling Shepard isn't being used enough for my liking, but that's nor here nor there. Evan Ingram is a stud. Got to get him the football more. Odell Beckham Jr. still working his way back from the injury. He made some plays in this game, but it wasn't enough. You know, he got off to another slow start, and that's been another Achilles heel of this team this season is slow starts. There hasn't been one game yet that you've gotten off to a great start in the game and been able to play with a lead. You're always trailing. You're always coming from behind. And that affects you later on in the game. It takes a lot of energy. It expends a lot of energy to come from behind just to catch up. I mean, you did it in the Eagles game. You were down 14-0. You run off, damn near 24 unanswered points in that game, only to have the Eagles come back, hawk you down, and ultimately kick the game-winning field goal. You were down 13-0 in this game. And you had to come back and fight, scratch, claw to get this game at a competitive, stage. Just to give yourself a chance in the fourth quarter, you take the lead. But again, it took so much energy out of you to get to that point that the Buccaneers were able to come and steal the game from right under your nose at the very end. And so you got to get off to better starts. But at 0-4, I think you might have dug yourself too deep a grave to get up out of. And with the NFC East being a good division this year, with the Eagles being 3-1, the Cowboys 2-2, the Redskins obviously pending Monday night's outcome could be 3-1 or 2-2. 0-4 isn't going to get it done. This isn't 2015 where the whole division was terrible, and a 0-4 start didn't mean that you're dead. You know, you could still rally back, and next thing you know, you still were in the division. Division's too good for that. And the NFC conference as a whole is too good for you to come and sneak a backdoor wild card. Now, I say all of that, and last year, if I'm not mistaken, you won like 10 straight games. So if you've got one of those runs in you, now's the time to start it. If you've got a 10 out of 11 winning streak in you somewhere, now's the time to go ahead and start on that thing. Because any more losses is detrimental to making anything of this season. And if you get to another loss before you get to a win, you're going to start seeing guys mentally check out on you in that locker room. So you need to get a win just for the sake of the guys in the locker room. You lose another game, you drop to 0-5, your head coach is on the hot seat, and next thing you know, guys are going to start quitting and giving half-ass efforts on the football field because they know that this season is going nowhere fast. And this strikes me as a locker room that you got a couple of dudes that are just mentally check out on your ass. So it'll be interesting to see what happens, but got to get off the faster starts. The defense was not its sharpest in this game. A couple of defensive breakdowns allowed the Buccaneers to get up early in this game. Eli Apple continues to struggle, even though he did make a good play in the end zone, gave up a touchdown to Mike Evans where he did not locate the football. He continues to be a guy that teams target. The offensive line is a sieve. There's not really much you can do about that right now. And offensively, this team is so predictable, especially in the run game with everything being out of shotgun and pistol. I just think this team right now is just too predictable on the offensive side of the football in terms of the run game. If you want to be more effective in the run, you got to diversify what you do in the backfield. And right now, I just think this team is too predictable running the football. So then it all falls on the shoulders of Eli Manning and damn near 50 passing attempts. That's not how this team is built. Even though they don't run it well and they haven't been built to run, you're not going to win consistently in this league having your quarterback chuck it damn near 50 times. It's just not a winning recipe in this league. And so the Buccaneers, in dramatic fashion, come back and win a game that they should have won outright without having to kick a late game field goal, 25-23 over the Giants. They get to 2-1 on the season, and they needed that one because the Falcons lost, but the Panthers and the Saints both won. That's the toughest division in football right now from top to bottom record-wise. There's not one single team below 500 in that division, and so you needed to win this game just to save face, to keep pace with everybody else in the division. Meanwhile, the Giants, you dropped to 0-4, and really your season is all but dead. You're on life support. I've seen this team run off 7 out of 8. 9 out of 10, 10 out of 11. So I'm not going to count them out just yet because they do still have a good enough defense to get it done. But it's not looking too good for this Giants football team after dropping the first 4 games of the season. Let's get to any comments. As a matter of fact, I don't have a lot of time to answer comments. Well, there are not a lot of comments here, so I think I'll try to take as many as I can, and then I'll get out of here. Elite Atlas says, Martin has already been activated from suspension, so we will see him on Thursday. So that is a good thing. Atlas also says, I don't know, Lou. I had the Bucs-Pats game as an auto loss for the Bucs, but the Pats defense has been terrible lately. They are bad, and you got a shot. The Bucs have a legitimate chance of winning that game at home. They just got to take care of business. But the Patriots don't lose 2 in a row often. I can't tell you the last time they lost 2 games in a row. I can't tell you the last time the Patriots were under 500 after 2 weeks of football. We've seen them lose the first game of the season before, but they don't lose 2 in a row. And I can't tell you the last time after the first 4 weeks of the season the Patriots were under 500. The likelihood of that happening is slim to none, but their defense is bad. So Cloud says the Giants are done this season. Looks that way. I won't count them out just yet, but yeah, 0-4. Tough to dig out of, but I saw the Chiefs just a couple of years ago start the season off 1-5 and win 10 straight. So I'm not willing to count the Giants out just yet. Buck Nation says, I think that New England comes in and we still that 7 straight seventh, eighth straight win at home, but we must make Brady uncomfortable. That is the key. Making Brady, because you can score on their defense, but making Brady uncomfortable and not allowing him to turn it into a shootout is what it's going to take for you guys to have a shot to win that game. If Brady's able to get to 30, 33 points, I don't know if you guys are capable of doing that right now, because I don't love your ability in the red zone to get it into the end zone. So that's an issue. You get Brady uncomfortable, you get him off the spot, you got a shot. Hashtag Buck Nation says this offense is about to be very scary, especially once Deshaun gets going. Also, that New England defense can't hold or stop us, but we must start early and fast once again. Agreed. Hashtag Buck Nation also says, I couldn't even watch the game-winning field goal because I went to the ER to have them check my heart rate after that damn game. LOL. You folk, man. Hey, look, Nick Folk. Y'all kickers have been terrible over the last 2 years, and Folk is not any better right now. And he's been better throughout his career. I think it's mental. It's all mental. And if I'm the Bucs, I'm bringing in a kicker on Tuesday for a tryout just to see what's out there. If I don't like anybody, I keep Folk and I keep moving on with him for now. If I like somebody, they knock my socks off. There's too many young kickers out there that can be given a chance to keep this veteran on your roster if he's not able to get it done. That kick 5 yards back further, that's a miss. So it is what it is. You got it done this week, but that is not a recipe for success moving forward. You're going to need Nick Folk to make his kicks moving forward. In any event, you can eliminate all of that by just getting into the end zone. That will alleviate a lot of your problems. Still got to make the extra points. He did miss one of those, but in any event, Bucs get it done in this game, 25-23 in walk-off fashion, as Nick Folk is able to drill a 38-yard field goal as time expires to get the Bucs this win. And this was a big one. They needed this one. They had to have it. They got it. The Giants dropped to 0-4, and their season is on life support. And really, it's probably being supported by a breather machine at this moment. And if we pull the plugs on that machine, the Giants season is dead. So we'll see how long they keep the oxygen mask on and continue to keep the machines running for this Giants season. One more loss, and I think everyone's willing to go ahead and pull the plug on this season for the Giants in 2017. Meanwhile, Bucs go to 2-1 and stay relevant in that ultra-tough NFC South division. That's going to do it for your man, Louie T. Whether big or small, we cover it all here on the Louie T Network. I thank you for joining me on Lockdown Coverage. Got one more game to cover. I don't want to do anything at halftime of my Redskins game. I just want to focus on the game itself. So I'm going to go ahead and break down that game right now. And we'll be right back with that breakdown. Thank God for DVRs. I'll be back with the final game of week number 4 in terms of Sunday games with the Arizona Cardinals and San Francisco 49ers, an overtime game that had a lot of twists and turns. We'll break that one down, and we'll wrap this thing up for week number 4 in the National Football League. I'll see you in a second. Have a good one.